Episode 7 of 19. You don't love them. You love how they confirm your narrative. When attachment isn't affection, it's echo chamber chemistry. You didn't love them. You loved the way they kept your story alive. This episode, a deep cut through the illusion of connection. You keep saying you loved them, but was it them you loved? Or was it the way they made you feel? Validated, needed, desired, safe in your story? Was that love? Or was that identity maintenance? Maybe they didn't challenge your wounds. Maybe they fit the puzzle piece of your past. They weren't your soulmate. They were your narrative support beam. And now that they're gone, you're not grieving love. You're grieving the collapse of the story you used them to tell yourself. Because if you really loved them, you'd want their growth more than your emotional continuity. You wouldn't need to be needed. You wouldn't call codependence chemistry. And you wouldn't confuse validation for connection. Real love doesn't need narrative alignment. It survives dissonance. It challenges the script, not reinforces it. And it doesn't just comfort your ego. Real love confronts it. So if you're brave enough, ask yourself, did I love them, or did I just love what they reflected back at me? Section 1, the myth of unconditional love, and why most love is not that. We like to say we love unconditionally, but most of the time, we don't. Our love comes with terms. They're just invisible enough that we can pretend they're not there. We love how someone makes us feel about ourselves. We love the version of us we see in their eyes. We love when they make the mirror flattering. If they stop reflecting what we want to believe about ourselves, that love starts to thin out. Most people don't love you through dissonance. They love you until you stop playing the role they hired you for. And if you're honest, you've probably done it too. You've loved the people who kept your story tidy, the ones who didn't press too hard on the parts you didn't want to change. You told yourself it was compatibility, but it was just comfort. Love without friction is not love. It's an echo chamber. And an echo chamber isn't where people grow. It's where they stay exactly the same. Section 2, how we build love on identity reinforcement. We don't just fall for people, we recruit them. We find the ones who will play our script without rewriting it. If your identity is the fixer, you'll keep finding the broken. If your identity is the problem, you'll keep finding people who abandon you. If your identity is the strong one, you'll keep finding people who need you weak enough to lean on. And that's not just lovers. If you're the caretaker in your family, you might keep choosing friends who need saving too. because it reinforces who you think you are. We call it chemistry when it's actually just casting. We audition partners and people for roles in our private theater, roles designed to keep our old wounds right where they are, untouched, undisturbed, and strangely safe. Attachment style confusion plays a big part here. Anxious attachment can feel like passion, always chasing their approval. Avoidance can feel like mystery, keeping you at arm's length. And the push-pull dance of incompatible wounds can feel like soulmate energy. But these aren't proof of a soulmate. They're just old patterns dressed up as destiny. Chemistry built on reenactment isn't connection. It's just mental muscle memory. You're not drawn to them because they're meant for you. You're drawn because they fit your storyline. And that storyline? It's been running a lot longer than they've been in your life. Section 3, Codependence, Chemistry, and Narrative. That pull you feel, the one that makes you swear the universe put you together, that's not fate. It's just familiarity. The nervous system loves the familiar, even when the familiar is poisonous. We call it chemistry, but chemistry is all too often just two old wounds snapping into place. It feels magnetic because it's predictable. They trigger you in all the right ways. You trigger them back. And the cycle hums along like a song you've known since childhood. Twin flames? Half the time, that's just code for we know exactly how to hurt each other without even trying. You're not cursed, you're just conditioned. Neuroscience backs this up. Your brain releases dopamine when it predicts something familiar, even if that thing is painful. That's why you feel drawn to the wrong people. It's not magic, it's just memory. You are rerunning the emotional math you learned from your first caretakers, the closeness, or the withdrawal, or the mixed signals. If it's the way love was tangled up with fear or control, you're just replaying it. And because you survived it once, your body assumes that it must be safe. So it calls it love. But love built on codependence is not love. It's basic contract work. Two people just keeping each other's stories intact while calling it connection. Section 4, How Real Love Works Without Story Crutches. Real love doesn't need a script. It doesn't cast you in a role. It doesn't demand you play the same scene over and over again. Real love makes room for evolution. Not just yours, but theirs too. It doesn't panic when someone changes. It doesn't cling to the version of them that feels safest for your ego. It doesn't punish growth just because it shifts the dynamics. Now, here's the counterpoint. Not all alignment is bad. Shared values, shared humor, shared dreams, those can bond you. But when the alignment is just about protecting your wounds, that isn't love. That's just stagnation dressed as safety. In real love, you can outgrow each other and still care. Even through frustration, even through bitterness. You can disagree without it turning into a threat. You can be more than the hero, the victim, the caretaker, or the muse. It's not about keeping each other comfortable. It's about keeping each other honest. And here's the thing. Real love will not always make you feel validated. Sometimes it will make you face the parts of yourself that you've been avoiding for years. Because real love doesn't just hold your hand, it holds up a mirror. Section 5. How to know if it was love or just narrative addiction. Here's the gut check. Would you still love them if they finally healed enough? If they no longer needed you to rescue, fix, or validate them? Would the pull still be there? Do you only feel safe when they mirrored your pain? Or could you hold them in their joy without feeling irrelevant? Do you feel truly seen, or just staged in a role that made sense to both of you? Because being seen is very easy when you only show the curated angles. Could you hold their growth if it outpaced yours? Or would you quietly start rooting for their setbacks so you could stay needed? If you cannot answer that without flinching, that's your answer. Section 6. Letting go of the script. When a relationship ends, as they unfortunately often do, it's tempting to mourn the person. But often, you're really just mourning the role you played in their presence. The identity, the comfort of knowing exactly who you were around them. If you're honest, you don't want anyone else in that role. Because if they fit in it too easily, it exposes how replaceable the whole thing really was. Letting go means this. Stop trying to recast someone new into the same part. Stop asking, why did they leave? And start asking, what version of me was I protecting with them in my life? Because until you answer that question, you'll just keep holding auditions for the same damn role in a slightly different costume. Section 7. Love without echo. You don't need someone to see you the way you see yourself. You need someone who helps you outgrow the version of yourself you've already outlived. That's not narrative alignment. That is actual love. Love that doesn't collapse when the script changes. Love that survives dissonance. Love that doesn't just comfort your ego, it confronts your ego. So here's your practice. Take 5 minutes today. Write down one role you've been playing in your relationship. Here's a list of the most common ones. The fixer, always attracted to brokenness to stay relevant. The victim, always needing rescue to stay significant. The strong one, refusing to show need so others depend on you. The caretaker, giving to avoid facing your own emptiness. The achiever, performing success so you don't have to risk intimacy. The peacemaker, keeping everything smooth to avoid conflict and truth. The life of the party, hiding loneliness behind charisma. The rebel, needing someone to oppose you so you feel alive. The martyr, sacrificing yourself to feel indispensable. And finally, the teacher or the guide, only feeling worthy when you're the one with wisdom. Ask yourself, what would happen if I let whatever that role is go? That's where real love starts. And when you find that kind of love, you won't need to keep the story alive. You'll just live.